Welcome to this HR webinar, Work from Home, HR Back to Center. In this COVID time, we all are working from home. So I thought, why not we should have a webinar, because there are a lot of changes that had happened during this period. COVID-19, now 2020. Initially, lockdown was announced and we had taken it just like a mini war. And work from home with the dedication of ninja warriors, I must say. But then lockdown 2, lockdown 3, and now it's going to be lockdown 4. Yes, with some relaxations and changes, definitely that will help. But with all these experiences and innovations, because we as employee, when we see we are getting up early in the morning, doing our essentials, not much help available at hand, and also getting ready ourselves with work at the set time with set performance goals. So this is not an easy task. Initially, we found it difficult, and by the end of the day, handling so many phone calls or video calls and presentations and juggling with spreadsheets, sometimes we are having headache or heaviness in our eyes. So this is what I guess the story of many persons, at least to my generation. So, but with all these issues in hand, we had buried our worries under the avalanche of work. Both employers and employees are trying to see how to make this happen more effective, and we should come out as a winning team. Work from home is tested, experimented, and now it's going to be new normal. With lots of companies, leading companies across globe are announcing. For example, Microsoft has already announced that by September they're going to do work from home. Same is the case with Amazon by October. Other companies like Facebook, Google, Indian companies, Wipro, as we are having Ms. Rituparna Ghosh, Function HR Head, and Infosys and TCS, all are announcing and discussing that more than 50% of their workforce is going to work from home. So in this situation, HR issues are popping up. So how we are going to set goals so that our employees can perform the way they have to. That is number one. Another is how to monitor the virtual team. Earlier we were having physical gatekeeping, but now we have to manage with virtual. So this is a challenge. So now Ms. Neeru had also joined. Welcome, Neeru.
Thank you, Dr. Agarwal.
Yeah. So, and other, as I was discussing with HR challenges and issues we are facing, other than that, employees are also anxious. So I would like to listen from you guys what we are listening apart from recruitment and selection, that is means plus minus 25% what we are predicting that is going to happen at least for a year. Other than that, what is on incentive side? What is we are having, or we are allocating some budget for salary increments. But if we see the various consultancy reports, they had surveyed across industries and they are finding it is going to be different. So if we are not having short-term or long-term incentives, if we are not having a lot of bonuses in hand, so how we are going to motivate our performance? What is going to happen with the promotions that were already in place, or where many employees were thinking that they are going to have that? So with this, all issues, and also related to supply chain disruptions, as we are having Mr. Nitin present. So he will be sharing the disruptions he had seen and new competencies and skills that are very much needed, and how they are upskilling their existing workforce and the coming future, what skills will be needed. So with all these questions in mind, the audience, the participants are looking towards us to their questions and the answers. So with these questions in hand, we are having Mr. Raghav from Intuit. I would first like to interact with him and ask the question, what do you think? Work from home is different now? Because as I can assume, in ITS sector, work from home is not a new policy. It was earlier also. But yes, it was in a flexible manner. It was given as a benefit. But now, when it is all 5 days, or we can say 24/7, you have to be present and perform and work and deliver. So what you are finding it? Is it easy? Is it difficult? And other than that, what your company as Intuit is trying to support employees in terms of making them more comfortable, because health issues, well-being issues are also there. So communication, we HR fraternity are talking a lot, two-way communication and all, but how it is happening in the company. So with all these leading questions, I would like to invite Mr. Raghav. He can share his valuable inputs, and then we'll talk on these HR professionals to share their insights. So, Mr. Raghav, if you can switch on your video, that will really help each and everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Agarwal. So, yes, as you rightly said, the concept of work from home, working remotely is not new. It has been practiced before. If I talk about IT sector, they are extensively using it. And it was, yes, in an optional manner, but now in the times of COVID, we are sort of forced, everyone is sort of forced to work from home 24/7, as you rightly said. So this comes up with the inherent challenges as well as some positives that we can look out of it. So I'll first point out some positives that I feel we can take out from this is people are saving a lot more time, lot of more of their time in commute. So people are actually getting more time to work, if I say. And plus, one more benefit that I look at it is the disturbances. The office disturbances is not there. So an employee can concentrate on his work more. So these are certain benefits. People are getting to, spend more time with their families. So this is a great opportunity from the employee's perspective, from the family's perspective. But yes, we do have challenges. We have long meeting hours. If I put it in very simple terms, a 5-minute sync up with your colleague is now become a 15 or a 30-minute meeting on a Zoom call. So yes, there is a drop in the effectiveness and the efficiency of an employee that I would like to point out. But these are very mundane things that we'll think of, but I want to bring light on one very important issue that we often miss. And being an entry-level employee, I feel that even more is the learning, the group learning, the learning you have while working in an office space with people, with your colleagues, with your seniors. So this is, I think, is going to be hindered with this work from home culture. And somehow we'll have to figure out a way how we can manage that. So, and the better part I see is that all the stakeholders, be it the entry-level employees to the senior-most staff, to the leaders, to the stakeholders, everybody is adapting to this new style of working. How to evaluate an employee on his performance. We see a policy changes being regularly working upon as we move forward in this pandemic. So I'm very hopeful that we'll have a better future. We'll probably take the positives forward with us. And if I talk about Intuit, so we are already having talks at the leadership level as well as at the individual team levels, how we can modularize, how we can, transform our way of style of working. We can look at a amalgamated approach which will take positives from the both worlds. So like you said, companies, major companies, big companies have already started molding their policy of having maybe 40% or 50% workforce working from home. We can look certain approaches. And one thing at individual team level, what we are trying is to have meeting hours, so that all the meetings are scheduled in a particular time of the day, so that employees get equal time, get a good ratio of meetings as well as personal time to work. So I think these are few approaches that we are trying, and let's see. And yeah, post-COVID, the world is not going to be the same.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Raghav, for your inputs as an employee, because these are the things we are going to, talk, we are going to think, we are going to deliver on it. So yeah, the points that are raised by Mr. Raghav is, one is that we are able to save time, that earlier we were commuting, and as he is working presently with Bengaluru branch, Bengaluru city, so there are lots of traffic issues and commuting time is actually quite high. So yes, we are saving time, but at the same time, if meeting hours are very long and the work, if 5-minute work is taking 15 minutes, so it's the nullified, even means ultimately the employee is having a lot of pressure, more pressure. So where is extra time that is available? And at the same time, I can share you a very interesting story. When I was talking to one of my colleagues, she said once my company HR had called, and at that time I was busy in some work or so. Somehow I could not pick that call. So that they had inferred that it means I'm not working, I'm sleeping. So if that is the mentality, it means all the time you have to be over telephone or call or keep on responding just to show that you are there, you are working on your office or maybe home office desktop. So this is that is important issue. And another thing is that the performance part that are being raised by Mr. Raghav. And the third part is amalgamation of both positives or of both the worlds. So how we are going to make it happen, the physical way of working in a virtual way. So with these extra points, I am going to approach Ms. Rituparna Ghosh from Wipro. So we are actually looking at you. So the answers of these questions that are asked. So how you are handling and managing, performing at the end also, like employees also feel, yes, we are happy, we are satisfied, we are engaged. Yeah, over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Soni. So before I talk about the Wipro experiences, I think I'd just like to share my inputs and some insights on the topics that we just discussed. So to your point and to Raghav's, work from home is not something which is a very sudden phenomenon, at least in the ITES industry. And I think there are more positives than what we discussed. Obviously, we are reducing carbon footprint. Therefore, it's a more sustainable environment. We are giving the flexibility to our employees. And having said that, I think in this virtual workplace, which is now the new normal, and I don't even want to call it the new normal because in my view, the normal is evolving. So I think it's important for us to understand as HR practitioners that, in the pre-lockdown era, work from home was more like a very good to have policy, which aimed at giving employees the flexibility to balance typically what we call our work-life balance. Yeah. And in this era, in the current time, I think it is more like something that has to be done. So from a very human psychology standpoint, anything that is done under coercion, anything that people are forced to do for circumstances which are, external or whatever is the stimulus, there is a change and people feel the impact of that change. So I think the biggest challenge here is for HR to really drive that change and balance, really strike a balance between ensuring that productivity deliverables are met and employees, are feeling safe. And I wouldn't use the word happy right now. I think it's too early to really comment on that, but safe and engaged. I think there's a paradigm shift that HR has to bring about from employee engagement to employee experience. So, and that could cover very, simple issues like, am I as an organization giving my employees the basic infrastructure support. Not all my employees may be based in a metropolitan with very high broadband connectivity at home, right? There are my mental health issues being looked after. And I think in that context, when we talk about policies, again, communication is also something that we touched upon. I think it's absolutely pertinent in these times for organizations to maintain communication, which I would say is not even two-way. It is actually multi-pronged. So my internal customers, my external customers, my vendors, a lot of the time we need a lot of admin support, infrastructure support, and there are vendors supporting that, leadership, everyone. Communication has to be regular, communication has to be consistent, and communication has to be honest, most importantly. If anywhere people see the chain breaking, as in leadership talking about something, and my immediate manager, my ground level manager, talking about something else, or maybe talking about the same thing but citing a different reason, I think in a virtual workplace that becomes extremely difficult for employees to manage. So that's something. On a policy, when you come to policies around work from home, so policies also, I feel, have to be evolving, have to be very flexible, and have to be very, very outcome based. So I don't think we can any longer be in a zone where HR has formulated a policy, is the custodian of that policy, and that policy remains for the next 5 years before it is going to be, reviewed further. That's become an absolute dinosaur, I would say. It's fossil now, because the business models are growingly complex and growingly volatile. So if the whole idea of a policy is to give you that basic framework around supporting the business model, I think policies have to be very, very flexible. I can give you some examples. So, typically organizations will have policies around working hours, right? So you need to put in these many hours at work. It has to move away from that. It has to be around what you're delivering. And I guess it also has to be very much in line with the culture of the organization. So for some organizations, and to your example, Dr. some organizations, it may be just okay for somebody to say that yes, I was busy with my household chores, and therefore I could not take the call then. So as long as you're able to deliver, it is outcome based, I guess it should be just fine. It's all right maybe for some people to say that, I'm not available to take a call after 9 in the night because I have to cater to my young kids, or I have to go cooking, or XYZ. Those are all realities. So as long as that transparency, honesty, flexibility, and the outcome-driven approach is there, I think policies will have to be more like that. And the same holds true for, I think you asked a question around performance management. So performance, again, has to be looked at in a very, very different light. So it's no longer about waiting for the whole year. While in Wipro, we have more regular frequency of performance evaluation. It's actually quarterly, as opposed to many industries where you have to wait the whole year, and then you do at the end of the year upon performance appraisal. You may not have the same goals and objectives for the whole year. So you may, and particularly pertinent for gig workers, within an organization, you may have a combination of such workers where you may have to move to a very assignment-based, project-based kind of a module where, you're done with your assignment. Even if you're in the process of picking up a new skill, that's also going to be counted as something which is a part of your project. You're going to be rewarded for it, or you work in cross-functional teams, smaller assignments, project-based assignment evaluations, and reward mechanisms. I think those things would really be of importance.
Okay, great, Ms. Ghosh. So very important points that you had mentioned here. I like the point you had mentioned. So we are okay with employees are saying that we cannot take calls because we have to do some our household chores. So that really recalls me when I was taking the interview for my upcoming book, some person who was looking after green HRM and sustainability. Although we had fixed up a meeting, but finally he had called me and said, I cannot do it because I'm having this personal responsibility. So if we can change the meeting or online meeting for a while. So this is now accepted. So as we HR persons or companies are understanding the employee side, we are going more empathetic towards employees and understanding along with their safety and well-being issues. Yes, that is very, very important, top priority of HR and employers today's time, and along with managing or getting the deliverables, whatever are committed by them. So yes, that is a very good balance that companies are looking forward from employees. It is going to definitely make our employees more engaged. Right now, as Ms. Ghosh had said, we cannot say they are happy or not happy or very happy. We cannot comment on it, but definitely we can empathize. We can make sure, we can ensure them that yes, we are with you. So even I can recall one incident when some companies, when I was talking to them, so then they said, we are even organizing counseling sessions with our employees on how to engage their kids during this office work hours, because all the time everyone is at home, so it is a big distraction, as Mr. Raghav had also pointed out. Mr. Raghav had also pointed out one very important point, that open workplaces, now we are having that concept, but that is actually sometimes it is going to give some kind of a distraction. So that is also, I will come to you, Ms. Ghosh. So how is your experience, whether open workplaces should be there, remain there in the future, maybe once the lockdown is over or so? And also some of the points that you had mentioned, that we are going to be very, very flexible, we are going to be very, very short-term goals and performance monitoring and also upskilling them. So all these points are actually very, very important for all of us to know. So now I would like to call Ms. Niru Monga to share her insights on how she is actually engaging teams. So what all are best practices, or maybe during the lockdown when you are having some set goals and employees are facing issues, so how you had managed that, and what is the way forward with Deloitte as a company and HR manager from representing the company. So over to you, Ms. Niru, for your insights.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Agarwal. It was pleasure listening to all other panelists also here. I would say it is an unimaginable event for everyone. Nobody would have imagined such a lockdown before. So it is a tremendous learning for everyone here. So at Deloitte, as a firm, we always believe in putting our people first. And when we say we mean it, we have a framework of connect, care and develop. And when we say connect, we start connecting with our employees right from the time when they join us. We have even got people joined us virtual onboarding programs. Connect unkahi ko sunna, that's how we say it, So listening to the people about their worries, their fears, what is it that is bothering them during the lockdown, listening to their concerns, that's also how we are focusing on through various connect calls and the virtual sessions. Then connect is also about rewarding the performers, the people who have been putting a lot of effort to work really hard during such times. We are also providing confidential, counseling services to the employees and their families, those who are feeling anxious about the situation. Then we are also focusing on caring for our employees. We call our employees every single day to check about their well-being. How are they? Are they safe? Are their families safe? So we really care about our employees a lot, and we call them every single day. So for employee safety, our organization has gone an extra mile and has built a global application that tracks employees' health. There are 4 options in the software that we have. So one says I do not have COVID-19 symptoms. Second option says I have mild symptoms, but I'm unsure. Then I'm currently being tested for COVID, or I am being tested COVID. So this is how we check that whether employees are safe or not. And keeping this thing in mind, we have also launched our COVID crisis helpline for our employees. They can get in touch with us if they find any symptoms of COVID. They can get in touch. If they have seen any suspected case around or any exposure to COVID, they can call on the helpline number. So caring for our employees has always been our topmost priority, and safety is a part of it. And we've recently launched our shared leave policy as well, wherein employees, they can contribute the unutilized leave to a common pool, so that other employees who are facing any kind of medical emergencies, they can actually utilize that unutilized leave balance, and that can be shared further with the employees of the organization. And then we've been sharing a lot of mails on regular basis. We've been conducting WebEx sessions. Leaders are connecting with the employees to reassure that employees are all good, they are safe, and their well-being is being taken care of. So apart from that, just to add the fun element to the regular routine of the employees in our organization, we've launched a work from home newsletter, wherein employees, we have collected a lot of work from home stories, cooking recipes, their pictures in casual dressing. We would have never seen our CEO in a casual dress. So through work from home newsletter, we got to see the picture of our CEO in a t-shirt, in a casual dress for that matter. And we have also come up with a lot of fitness sessions like yoga, Zumba, meditation sessions. We've been doing such sessions on regular basis. We have launched our internal podcast series also. We are doing such sessions with the help of a professional DJ. We are also doing a lot of sessions for our employees, focusing on their development. We're doing some training session for them. Launched a mobile application which focuses on development of their skills. And then we had recently had a musical excellence show as well, wherein we asked our employees to play their instruments, sing songs, and that was a fun Friday evening for the organization. So we connected the employees through a Zoom call, and this is how we got this show done. Apart from all these steps, we are also doing orientation sessions for the new joiners. It is all for the people in the organization. Yeah. And
okay. Yeah, please carry on. Yeah.
So if I have to talk about the way forward, I would say, future of work has to be looked at from 3 dimensions. One is work, what can be automated. Second is the workforce, who can do the work. And third is the workplace, where is the work done. We really have to look at these 3 dimensions when we talk about future of the work. Because the current COVID situation has drastically changed how the businesses think and operate. So considering the remote working, considering the current scenario that remote working can be a viable option for many, we are going to see the future of work change more quickly. It is going to be a big reset for all the organizations across the industry. It is going to be a big change for everyone. The ways of working will change. Digitalization, the technology, virtual sessions, well-being, safety, these will be the big buzzwords now post the lockdown. We always had this work from home policy, but not many people took advantage of it. However, now post the lockdown, mindset will change. People will start using it more frequently. They'll start looking at these factors. Okay, why not utilize a policy that I already have? And I would say there's going to be major shift in the industry across the organizations now. It's going to be a huge shift for the people.
Yeah. Thank you, Ms. Monga. So you had really shared wonderful HR practices to engage and motivate the workforce in this lockdown period. I really love the point when you said even CEO is coming in a casual dress and sharing the recipe among all the employees. That is really fun, and people feel so connected. So each and everyone from top to bottom at the same level, and they are empathizing and they are understanding and they are sharing. And it is also with all these uncertainties, with all these stress, we are still trying to find some fun moments, be it yoga classes, be it virtual Zumba classes. That is really great, that all the practices that are being initiated by Deloitte. Even I was in the WhatsApp group where some of the research scholars from my alma mater, IIT Kharagpur, had shared Suddenly, the director had come to our place and they had asked what you are facing, what the problems. So at this level, if the leaders are coming, each and every level, people really feel that yes, they are valued for their organization. So that is really great. And the another point that I really like that was mentioned by Ms. Monga, like we are working on 3 key points. That is work, how it is going to be in future with this AI, and we all are talk like HR is not needed, maybe, or maybe HR needs to be changed drastically in case they have to survive in this world. So now we are using technology, it's a testing time. So still, are we feeling that or finding there is a need of human beings or especially HR persons in the organization, or we can replace them very easily with the technology? So that is definitely, I will again come to you, Ms. Monga, for this question, and also 2 important other aspects that you had shared, that is workforce and workplace. So workplace can be coffee house, your home, or wherever. And what is the workforce? Be it always the permanent workers, or maybe gig workers, or maybe a person just 15 or 16, good in some coding and can work for a company. So this is going to be a drastic change that is going to happen in the coming world, and that is for all good, that I can understand. Be it a 15-year-old guy or be it 65 years. So whoever can learn or upskill fast, that is valued. So how now again I would like to ask Ms. Monga, so what do you think, what is your view on this AI and the need of human beings? Is this the case that we are going to have less employees needed in the coming time?
Oh, so we would always need humans to work in the organization, especially when it comes to HR interacting with the employees. Because whenever you have to give them the feedback for their performance, you need to give them the support. You need to have that human touch. Emotions cannot be replaced. We can have artificial intelligence, but we cannot have human machine for that matter. We need to have humans. We need to have that human touch, the emotional connect with the employees. There has to be someone who should speak to them, to guide them, to motivate them, encourage them, give them the feedback, boost up their morale. Somebody has to stay connected with them. So the routine activities may get automated. You may not need people to work on the routine Excel files. Maybe we can have softwares to work on that. Things can be automated wherever possible. So I'll just give an example here. We have recently launched a virtual chatbot. So, that chat, it just pops up when you start your laptop and it would ask you a question, how may I help you? So if somebody wants to go, search for any documents in the maybe Deloitte resources portal or the websites, it would show you the path that, it would show you the policy, the documents as well. So there's no manual work. This is all automation. The chatbot is helping you to show where the documents or maybe the things are located in the resources, the company resources portals. So now the automation can be done up to an extent wherein we do not have to put in much of effort or the time, but wherever we need to have a human touch, wherein there we need to have emotions or the feedback or support or involved in it, this be needed.
Okay, great. So yes, that is what is even been tested, that we are not able to replace, or we cannot replace human beings with a machine. Machines or AI are definitely there to support us, to make us more agile, make us more flexible, make us more efficient and effective, but they are not the replacement of human beings. At the same time, now we had realized that human touch is even more important. A lot of stress is there. So more counseling sessions are organized. And when we will work in this virtual mode, definitely we will need someone who can understand, who can even guide, who can mentor. So all these HR related skills will be very much needed. Yes, the way may be different. So either it was in a physical mode, now it will be more in a virtual manner. So maybe lots of trainings will be organized, how to be effective negotiator while having a Zoom call with the client. So those kinds of skills may be more in demand. So that is great. Now I would like to call Mr. Nitin Rungta from Rupa e-commerce division. And as in e-commerce division and with these supply chain disruptions, but at the same time online services are very much in demand and the most safest option in hand. So what is your challenge and how you had faced all these challenges, and what new skills you think or capabilities that are or that will be needed in the coming future? So that will really guide the participants and all of us to see or upskill themselves and be available in the market with lots of requirements. So over to you, Mr. Nitin.
Sure. Thank you, Dr. Agarwal. Good evening, good afternoon, all of you. I've heard everybody. So I kind of disagree with the fact that work from home will be the new normal. Reason being that apart from probably a handful of tech companies, none of the other companies are prepared for it. We've never expected it. As a matter of fact, in my career of 8-10 years, I have never applied for a work from home. And I'm pretty sure if I would have applied for a work from home, I would have never got it. The reason being, we are not used to working from home. Pre-COVID or post-COVID, there's a huge difference with working from home. I'm sure Raghav is a software guy. He would totally agree to it that pre-COVID, I don't know whether he's a bachelor or he stays alone or he's got his family there. Do you think a bachelor working from home in this kind of a situation would be able to work without being concerned about khana kaun banayega, bartan kaun dhoega, who's gonna wash his clothes, who's gonna clean the house? So I mean, it's becoming very, very difficult. Add on to that the Zoom fatigue. I mean, really appreciate what probably like a Deloitte is doing or a Wipro is doing or any other IT company is doing for their employees. But then just imagine an employee sitting in front of their laptops almost for 8-10 hours, calls after calls after calls. I mean, something which could have been done over an email is happening on a call now. And information that I had to pass on to, say, my CEO, I have to probably call him up and tell him, ki, sir, ye hai. So you can understand how difficult it is. Agreed, in e-com with the kind of job that I am in, the kind of work that I do, yes, certain jobs or certain skill sets or people who are doing certain kind of work, they might not be actually required to go to office on a regular basis. But then I don't have a data to prove it, but then I'm pretty sure more than 60-70% of the working population in India has to go to work. Because one is, there is no bifurcation between working at home and how much are you working at home. There is no timeline. When you go to office, you know कि मेरे को 9 बजे punch in करना है, 5 बजे punch out करना है. Your work is done. But when you're at home, वो 5 का कब 6 बजेगा, when it's 7, when it's 8, you're taking calls at 9. I mean, it sounds very, very rosy and everything that we have a culture. I'm sure a lot of companies, good companies are having that culture. But that's just 10%, maybe 5% of the companies that maintain that culture ki we will not call our employees after 8 o'clock. We will not ask them to come online after 7 o'clock. Most of the companies ensure कि you are available. अगर आप घर पे हैं तो you are available 24/7. That's a fact. So let's be very, very clear about that. As a matter of fact, I know a friend. So when the work from home started, so they were asked to download this application called Deskime on the laptop, which used to log, that for how many hours have they logged in, what websites are they opening. So you can imagine the kind of scrutiny companies can do or are doing. Agreed, that went on for 15-20 days. Post that even they understood that it doesn't make sense doing all of that. If somebody is working, अगर किसी को काम करना है तो चाहे घर में हो चाहे वो ऑफिस में हो, that person, he or she will do the work. But then I don't know. I mean, to me, it's been a very very huge bad change. Not just for me, for my colleagues, a lot of friends. I speak with my friends in Singapore. It's the same everywhere. People were just not prepared. Second point is, most of us, a lot of us, do not work on laptops in the office. We had desktops. Imagine you being asked to work from home from 23rd of March, when you're leaving from office on 22nd of March, कि कल से work from home है. घर में laptop ही नहीं है यार. You don't have your system at home. You don't have the SAP access at home. You don't have access to so many things that you would require to do your work on a regular basis at home. So how would you do that? So yes, for tech companies who already had these policies of working from home, I think it's not much of a difference for them. But for anybody else, it's a huge difference. And people are suffering. I'm pretty sure we have two HRs here. I'm sure they would be happy to share, how their employees are suffering with Zoom fatigue, with webinars, with calls day in, day out, with no demarcation of what are your working hours. It's absolutely a turnaround. With regards to, and yes, I mean, what Raghav said, I'll probably counterpoint that. He said about the commuting part. Yeah, that commuting part, yes, agreed. When you have to commute for an hour or 2 hours on a daily basis, yes, that can be a pain. But for a lot of people, that commuting was also not on regular basis, but I'm sure on some basis, it used to be, like a happy change wherein you can probably listen to music or read something. At least you were not working when you were traveling. But now the same 2 hours that you used to spend traveling, you are sitting at home and working. Or probably 1 hour out of that 2 hours you're working. And so, to be honest, if you ask me, I miss office. I miss chatting with my colleagues. I miss gossiping with my colleagues. I miss standing next to the water cooler and, bitching about people. Look at him, ye pehen ke aaya. She's walking like that. He's talking like that. You miss all of that. You cannot, no matter how many webinars and Zoom calls you have with your employees, make them do Zumba, yoga. I'm sorry, I'm not against anything that anybody is doing. I'm just saying, you cannot replace human interaction with a human. You have to interact with a human being physically. You cannot replace that with digitalization of the whole thing. Probably 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, you would like it, you would love it. You're sitting at home, you're doing things. Nobody's, there's no CCTV camera here, like a security guard or an admin guy is, watching you. What are you doing? What website are you surfing on your laptop? That might look nice. Like, I'm sure people would have loved watching Netflix at 7 o'clock in the morning when the lockdown started. But how many? I don't remember when did I open Netflix and watched it again. I mean, in the last 3-4 days. I'm so bored of Netflix. I want to go to office. I'm dying to go to office. I want to go meet my colleagues, see their faces. So, I think, working from home might be people, what this can do, what this whole COVID thing can do is, maybe it'll make those companies who are not flexible towards work from home become more flexible, agreed. But work from home being the new normal, I'm sorry to say, I don't see it happening. Because the human interaction in our lives is very, very important. It's of utmost importance. We are not robots, we are not AI. We cannot live without touching, like probably, I don't know, I'm sure we will not shake hands anymore after this COVID thing, but at least standing in front of the other person and looking into the eye of the other person and talking to that person, you can't take that feeling away. That's difficult. So the competencies that we require working from home is obviously compassion from each other, compassion from the HRs towards the employees, compassion from the employees to their managers to their subordinates. You need that compassion. You need to understand that if I'm working from home and if I'm a bachelor, I also need to go get up, from my table or chair or bed where I'm sitting and working, go and cook, go and wash my utensils. There has to be empathy. People have to understand that you have to empathize towards people rather than showing sympathy ki yaar bechara ye to akela hai ghar mein. No, you have to put yourself into the other person's shoe. It's very, very difficult, yaar, and it's very, very difficult. Probably if there was no COVID, probably if we had our maids coming home, if we had our kamwali or somebody to come and broom and clean the house, things would have been better. But I think this COVID has spoiled things way more than it would have been without COVID. So compassion, empathy. Obviously, another thing can be, I don't know how easy will it be to appraise people and to give the right kind of hikes to people by just doing Zoom calls and WebEx calls and Cisco calls. I mean, even I'm sure both the HRs and even Miss Dr. Agarwal would appreciate that when you're hiring somebody, the final round has to be face to face. First round you can do a HR round, you can do it on the call. Second round probably a technical round, you can do it on the call. But third round, final round, when you actually are hiring an employee, you want that employee to fly down, to drive down, to come down to your office. So same thing goes with appraisals and salary hikes. They have to be face to face. So my whole premise is you cannot replace human interaction with a digital interaction.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Nitin. So we are having a diverse pool, and that's why diverse opinion, and that makes it more vibrant. And we as an HR representatives have to really answer the questions, that the issues that were raised initially by Mr. Raghav, that we are having a lot of fatigue. Hours are very long. The same is reiterated by Mr. Nitin. And there is no, we can say, substitute of human interaction. We get energy from each other. We are having some kind of a relaxation time when we are chatting with others or discussing with our day-to-day things. So that may not definitely can be replaced by all virtual thing. But at the same time, when suppose COVID continues and we are having no other option, so that's why we are doing it. But whether it is going to be the new normal or not, so that is what HR, as a HR fraternity, we are discussing. Another very important point was it is okay, it is good for the companies where already the work was basically sitting in front of the desktop or the laptop. But what about other companies? So how they are going to manage that? So that is again a very important issue that had also been raised by Mr. Nitin. And also, but yes, we all are together on this viewpoint that HR or the companies are trying to understand their employees more. The empathy part is more. So that is definitely is shared by all of us. So that is a good takeaway from this entire discussion. But here I would like to ask Ms. Rituparna Ghosh the question regarding this. One is open workplaces and the productivity. Do you see that open workplaces are going to work well whenever COVID fear is over? Another is, although IT/ITS company, maybe it is possible, but at the same time, even with IT/ITS companies, including me, I feel Zoom fatigue, as mentioned by Mr. Nitin. So, do you also think in the similar manner, or you want to share something else? Yeah, over to you, Mr. Nitin.
Yeah, all right, Dr. Soni. So, whether open workspaces would work in future or not, I don't think we have a thumb rule or a one-size-fits-all kind of a response to that. Because going back to Niru, if you look at workforce, work and workplace. All of these three things not only vary enormously according to the industry domain that you are part of, but also nationalities, geographies, because everything has its underlying culture. So, if you are part of a tea industry in Assam, and if you are part of a automobile industry in Germany, and if you are part of a new media company in, let's say, California, your all of these three things will not have any, I would say, overlaps, right? So whether open workspaces will work or not, I think is very closely correlated to the kind of work that that company really generates. Yeah. I have mentioned this in the past. I have a long association with the ITS industry. So, open workspaces, especially in these kind of industries and economies, I don't see that as a challenge. In fact, in that work from home, as opposed to what Nitin mentioned, is really seen as a silver lining because it's like a win-win. Organizations stand to benefit. And let's understand, all of this put together, finally, we are not charity organizations. We are here to make profit, right? So margins are of immense importance. So when organizations have to squeeze costs, overhead costs do matter, right? For employees, some organizations may see this leading to a higher gender diversity ratio because more women are continuing to stay at work maybe and not quit mid-level of their careers and so on and so forth. So in our industry, I think it's a win-win. However, this may not be applicable in some of the other industries where the nature of work is very different. Yeah. And that doesn't have to be restricted to India. If you have a manufacturing industry in Europe where everything is highly unionized and you have collective bargaining agreements, yeah, for each and every employee, including HR. By the way, HR is also an employee. It's a very, very different perspective there. So my response to that, Dr. Soni, is I don't think it's a one-size-fits-all response, whether open workspaces can work. Already open workspaces work today. If you look at a new media company, or if you look at startups, these do have open workspaces, right? People are logging in from their cafes and people are logging in from movie theaters. There are many times when I have responded to critical emails while I have been commuting to and from work, whether in my own hometown or elsewhere. So I think it would really vary upon the nature of work here.
Great, Ms. Ghosh. One size fits all approach definitely cannot work. We have to see what kind of a work, what kind of a company, what kind of a time we are working. So then we will decide. And during this discussion, the important point that had come out, yes, for some industries, work from home may not be an option. But yes, they definitely would like to see an option for some employees who really have some kind of a important works that could be done at their place. So can they do some part of work on some day? So some flexibility or maybe some way out or some technology support can be given to them, and that they can utilize the goods of both the on-site and off-site work. So definitely we have to come to office and learn from each other and get engaged, but at the same time, even other industries other than IT, ITS or tech industries may also had already tested, experimented, can also give this opportunity or flexibility to their employees. In case they need, definitely they can avail this facility. At the same time, from the participants, if they are having any question, they can write it on the chat box. So we are having experts from different industries, they can answer. And in the meantime, I'm having a question. Whoever would like to take it can take it. What new skills and competencies during COVID you had already seen, and post-COVID you think that will be more valuable? So anyone can take it. So whoever.
Okay, I think I will just share my views on this. And this is regardless of the role, the hierarchy, the function, whether you are in a tech company, whether you are in a e-commerce company, whether you are in whichever kind of function. I think emotional intelligence is of paramount importance. Yeah, because like I mentioned, whatever the kind of industry, organizations are, at least for the near future, going to go through a phase where everything will be very fluid. So, on the one hand, you have very complex matrices that define organizations. On the other hand, everything will be very, very fluid and therefore evolving. So, whatever hat you're donning, I think emotional intelligence, the readiness to change, yeah, or your comfort level with ambiguity, these are things that, and I'm not going into the domain of what kind of technical skills will come into. Of course there are new and emerging skills, and that has nothing to do with COVID or the lockdown per se, right? So even when we transformed into the digital era, there were so many skills that became obsolete. That does not mean that jobs are going to go away, it just means that jobs are going to be replaced. So today, and I remember I'd spoken about this in one of my earlier discussions in a different forum, that during the 2008 recession, or it was actually a double dip recession, radio jockeys was seen to be earning more than software engineers. So today you have, I think, 1 million open jobs in cybersecurity, which was not a reality even a decade ago, or for that matter, even 5 years ago. So I think even if you do not really talk about the emerging skills, etc., from a generic I should say, competency standpoint, I think artificial intelligence across all levels. And this could mean different things for different people. Communication could mean a very different thing for a CEO and a very different thing for somebody who's an entry-level employee.
Okay, great. Thanks for the inputs. Definitely self-awareness, empathy, team building, all the parameters, whatever we talk in emotional intelligence definitely matter a lot. IQ helps to entry in a particular job, but EQ really helps if we have to thrive in that particular domain and area. So very important point that has been shared. Apart from that, the communication skills. Earlier also they were important. Now soft skills, be it verbal, non-verbal, writing and speaking, all are going to be very, very important in this change scenario that is again proved and again reiterated by our panelists. So that is going to be important. The third is cybersecurity experts. So with everything online, we are seeing lots of cyber attacks, be it in our online money transaction or any other. Even about the Zoom platform, there was a lot of discussion and talk and guidelines that whether we should use Zoom platform or not. So this is these are the important skills that are going to happen. Means along with technical skills, definitely soft skills are going to be more important. So comes back again to HR or soft skills that they have to play a bigger role in the coming time. And now quickly for the last word, I would like to call Ms. Neeru and then Mr. Nitin and Raghav. So their final word or statement to the participants. Yes, Ms. Neeru.
Yeah. Before I come to the final word, I would want to add the competencies that would be required. I also feel that from the leader's point of view, it is very important to drive your teams together. I mean, they have to ensure that everyone's engaged with some productive work, because you're considering the current times when the people are spread across the entire country, they are sitting at their hometowns. I mean, the teams are not physically together. So the organizations and the leaders have to ensure that they are keeping them engaged, motivated, and they're driving their teams with a great collaboration. And also the high performers in the industry, they have to be given the challenging assignments that has to continue. I mean, you have to keep your performers engaged. You have to ensure your bottom performers are still improving. You are not ignoring any kind of employees in the organization. So that collaboration, engaging people, giving them productive work, that has to be taken care of. It will not go away. So those skills also have to be taken care of post the lockdown. So giving a final word to the audience, I think it's a new normal. We have come to such a stage wherein collaboration has become a buzzword for all of us. Innovation is tremendous across the organizations in the industries now. People have come up with a lot of new initiatives. I think we have to come out of our comfort zone and adapt to the new normal now. We have to start thinking out of the box that anything can happen anytime. We have to be prepared for such situation. God forbid it should not happen again. But then we have to be mentally prepared. Anything can happen anytime, and we have to be prepared with any kind of circumstance for that matter. Our work should not suffer, productivity should not suffer. We have to keep interacting with our teams. We have to ensure that we are investing our time to develop ourselves in learning, and maybe through various tools for that matter. So as a HR professional, I would say one should not stop learning and ensure that we have that comfort, that we keep ourselves out of the comfort zone and mentally prepare ourselves that anything can happen anytime. Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Monga. Definitely the word collaboration that you had mentioned, the team building, keep on learning, innovating, thinking out of box. So these are the things that definitely will keep with us, and this is a very valuable, what we can say, value addition in our existing knowledge set. Now I would like to move to Mr. Nitin. Your final words to the audience, please.
My final words to the audience is, yes, I agree with what Ms. Monga said and what Ms. Ghosh said with regards to organizations have to change themselves. So this has to come from top down rather than from bottom up. So the changes have to be done from the organizations. Organizations have to be prepared, be more flexible, be more nimble-footed. That if today COVID is there, God knows what kind of pandemic is brewing somewhere, which might hit us someday. So we have to be prepared for that. Yes, one change that I see happening with organizations that want to survive the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years is focus on technology, making their employees more tech, driven, training them on how to work without somebody being behind them all the time. Ki boss ye karna hai, ye karna hai, ye karna hai. So yes, I mean those things should happen, and I think that's it. I don't see any changes in my kind of work, but yes, for people who are CAs, who are auditors, who have to go for auditing, they still have to go to their client's office to audit. For somebody who's an IT guy, probably yes, but for somebody who's a non-IT guy, who somebody is a mechanic or a mechanical engineer for that matter, or somebody who works with machines, so obviously the bifurcation has to happen. I don't know when will that happen. Probably some companies will have to take the lead there. Probably the Googles, the Facebooks, the Apples of the world have to take a lead there. Probably the IT companies, the IT giants have to take a lead there and do that bifurcation. So okay. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah, great inputs. Then quickly, I would like to listen the final words from Mr. Raghav into it.
Yeah. So I'll not take a lot of time. I know we are already running out of time. So I think the communication will be of more emphasis now, as if I put it in very small example, you do not have the liberty of picking up a pen or a marker and just explain things, draw things. So you have to speak more with less words. So that is going to be a big, good improvement in a personal skill. And I think for the companies companies will have to be more performance, outcome driven. So rather than tracking how much amount of employee is working, will be more towards what is the outcome the guy is bringing in. The guy is bringing in for 6 hours, but he's actually contributing more as compared to a guy working 12 hours a day. So these are the small changes. I think the mindset change will have to be there. And at Untitled, we have a policy, or let's say a slogan: fail fast and learn fast. So every team is different. The requirements are different. Every nature of work is different. So we should have. We are actually experiencing and trying out different things and figuring out what is best for us. So,
Great, Mr. Raghav. So, yes, we have to think as the requirement is. The leaders now have to take more responsibilities, as Mr. Nitin and Raghav both had said, because we always see our leader, and the bigger companies will lead. Definitely, the smaller companies and the new companies and other companies can also come forward with new innovative ideas, what the bigger companies and giants can learn from them, and it is what is happening in very much we can see it. So that is what is great, and communication skills that are again reiterated by many of our panelists. And at the same time, now we as a company have to be more flexible. We should see the outcome rather than we should see how many hours a person is devoting. So it may be the person is devoting now more time, but yes, outcome if is measured, so definitely it is going to help. It is both way. It is a win-win kind of a situation. Although Ms. Rituparna Ghosh had already shared a lot from Wipro initiatives and best practices, but maybe quickly a final word from Ms. Ghosh, and then we will conclude the session. Over to you, Ms. Ghosh.
Yeah, final words I think should be a very crisp summary of what we've just discussed. We all as a fraternity, leaders, functional people, techies, non-techies, everywhere we have to come together, do our bit, unlearn ourselves, help other people unlearn so that we are able to relearn, and be hopeful, because I think the best way to look at it is this change was very unprecedented, and like I mentioned at the start of the conversation, was also in a way forced upon us, right? We didn't have 2 months to plan to work from home for 2 months. So if we've come thus far, I'm sure the journey ahead is also going to be equally, if not more, stimulating. And I think just to wrap up, I think people will have to come together, just show that yes, it's important that we care for each other, because I myself will not be able to deliver anything work-wise or otherwise. So we should just come together, times of togetherness, times of collaboration, times to unlearn so that we can relearn and gear up for the future, whatever lies in store for us.
Yeah, great words. Unlearn, relearn, compassion, collaboration, flexibility, upskilling. So with these keywords and food for thought for everyone, I'm concluding the session and thanking to each and every panelist who had devoted their time and shared their views and answered so many questions and queries that we had discussed. I'm sure each and everyone present here had a lot of value addition with this discussion, and have a good day, good luck. Thank you all.
Thank you so much all. Thank you.
Thank you everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.